G'day there, how are you? Don't worry, I'm not smoking a durry. I'm just sitting here ready to reconnect this irrigation over here. So thanks for popping in again at Gamaraka. Now, as we discussed a little bit earlier on, I just like to use a lighter just to soften up this poly pipe. Makes it a lot easier when you go to connect your fitting on the end. No struggling involved, slips straight on there as you can see. Now what I'm finishing here is that triangular section that we were discussing a little bit earlier on. We've got the main artery running straight through this garden bed over here, all the way up to the fence, coming back through and then forming the triangle. So it's actually cutting back into the main arterial pipe up the top there. Now what I'm about to do, it's a little thing that I like to do with each individual sector of an irrigation system, and that's just install a little tap fitting onto the very end of the grid. So what we're going to do is just heat that little pipe up there once more, soften that up, and just plug our little 19mm tap onto the end. Now, what some of you might be wondering is, why do we need a tap on the end of the irrigation system? And what you want to do is, monthly or every couple of months, just come along with the irrigation operating and running, just come along and just flick that tap on and just let the water flush through the system so that any debris, material, algae particularly, built up in the system can just wash through and out the end of the system. Only going to take a couple of seconds just to give it a good flush through, and then you're back in business and ready to go. And that way you're not having to dismantle your fittings later on down the track and having issues with blockages. Now another little thing I like to use is just a little stake like that. A little metal stake is best because it lasts years and years. Will rust away eventually, but takes a long time. So you can just secure your system into your desired area. This one, for example, got it pulled taut. Just drive it in there. That way your system's not going anywhere. So that's basically that section there. But what we need to do now is get our little 19mm clips that we're talking about and just go along to all the connections and make sure that they've been secured. Because what can happen, and what does happen, is the pressure of the water actually blows all your fittings off and all your connections off. So you just got to secure them. And the best way to do that is with your little plastic clips. I usually just go along and clip them all up, hand tighten to begin with. So get them into situ, tighten them up by hand, and then you'll come along later on with those parrot beaks that we showed you earlier and just tighten them off so they won't go anywhere. Okay, what we might do now is just demonstrate how to actually fit your dripper with your 4mm spaghetti tube off the main arterial line. So if you'd like to come with me, we'll go show you that. Don't worry about that, it's just the Taliban, they live up the road. Okay, yeah. What we've got here is your 4mm spaghetti tube, as we like to call it. It's quite a soft and flexible tube. Main purpose of this type of pipe is just to extend off your main arterial line to your desired plant so that you're getting water directly to the plant. Okay, so what I like to do is just find my artery, which is here, measure out the distance from that artery and trim that off there. Okay, here's these little shrubblers that we showed you earlier. What I love about these is they've got the jab attached, so it's just all complete, ready to roll. So you twist that off, you put that into one end, always make sure that you've got this little triangular section outwards, because that's what's going to drive into the main arterial pipe. And then of course the other end goes on there. There's no need really to heat this 4mm spaghetti tube. Sometimes takes a little bit of pressure to actually get it on there nice and tight, but it's nowhere near as hard as the larger 13 or 19mm pipe. Okay, now a hot little tip for you guys, pay attention here. Rather than just using the jab itself to drive into the main arterial pipe, what I like to do is use the stake of the shrubler to make my initial hole. So I'll just come along there, drive that in, see, like that. It's made the hole for me, and then I come along with my jab and click it in. And the reason I do that is because once you've done about 50 of them, your hands get rather sore, and it actually takes quite a bit of pressure to drive a jab into a poly pipe. So just using the end of the stake there makes life a lot easier. You can buy other things which actually punch the main pipe for you, but if I'm using this particular irrigation dripper, this is the way I do it. And there we go. You just drive that stake in there, you get your shrubler there. This is all adjustable, of course, which will change the amount of water that's delivered to the plant. In this instance, we've got a very young Bachelor pendula, also known as silver birch. They are reasonably high water use, so I will have this turned up quite an amount to begin with to establish the tree well. Alright guys, thanks for your attention, and we'll show you a little bit more a little bit later.